What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. We are working on the bug in today's video, but before we get started, I want to say Merry belated Christmas and a Happy New Year to you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. It really means a lot, and I've tried to get a lot done this year, but 2024, that's going to be our year. So let's jump into what I've done on the black bug. I haven't shown a lot of it because it's been a lot of fabricating and a lot of sitting there and staring at it and trying to figure out what's going to work, making something and having it not work and redesigning it and everything. So I figured you didn't want to see a lot of cutting, grinding, welding, so I was going to show you what I did. I've been working for a few hours, having GoPro issues. It feels like I haven't gotten anything done, but I have, I swear. So I got my jack shaft set up, half built. It's right here. It is just tacked together, a rough frame with the bearings, the hub adapters, sprocket, all that. I'll show you guys more of that in a minute, but I built a little bar to support the engine. That took me most of the day to decide to do and everything, so that now the engine's hanging by ratchet straps and I don't have to have a jack underneath it, so I can get the jack shaft in there and do all that. Camera's about to die, so I'm going to be mounting this side to that factory trans mount right there, and then I'm gonna have to notch the trans mount for the sprocket, as you can see, but that is not a problem. And then I've got a little, I don't even know what to call it, engine stand bar that I made real quick. It's just out of square tubing and some angle iron, and that is how I'm hanging the engine, because I obviously can't just throw a jack up underneath it anymore with that shaft right there. So not a big deal. Made that, spent most of the day just kind of figuring stuff out like that. But what we're gonna do right now is we're going to make some mounts and weld this mount to this mount, so I can just pull those two bolts, and then I'm going to make some mounts on the back right there so that I can undo 4 mounts and pull that jack shaft system out for when I have to remove the engine. Now, I thought a lot about making the jack shaft and the engine subframe cage with all the engine mounts I'm going to make into one unit, so I could just unbolt it and slide the whole jack shaft and engine and chain setup out at once. That's not gonna work because there's not enough room unless I were to make those frame horns detachable, which I don't want to do because they're factory molded into the car. I don't want to cut them and make them weak at all, so I'm just gonna have to pull the jack shaft out. It'll be 4 mounts, it'll take about 5 minutes. Well, it's 4 mounts and then 6 bolts on either side for the CV axles, and then that's all gonna slide right out, and then there'll be however many bolts and mounts to undo the engine and drop that out. So not a big deal. I hope I don't have to pull this engine a lot, but it is what it is. So we're gonna make sure everything's square, and then we're going to clean up this mount right there so that we can lay a bead from here to here. I also need to fully weld out that angle iron, or that square tubing frame I made, because it's just tacked together. So we're gonna do some welding, and then we are going to, I have adjustment in the bearing mounts, so we're going to get that little frame where we want it, and then we can adjust the jack shaft like that and get it square on either side, and then we will set the engine to that. As you can see, the chain isn't straight, it's at an angle. That's because the engine is just roughly set in place, but I'm super excited. I was able to do it without 2 jack shafts. I will have to modify the back seat a bit. It sucks, but it is what it is. I'll show you guys when we get to that point, but I'm gonna have to do some custom exhaust work too, because I did have to move the whole engine forward. But it's better than having 2 jack shafts and 2 chains and more stuff to fail, in my opinion. So you gotta make some trade-offs when you're doing completely custom cars like this. So, yeah. Been sitting here trying to decide how to do my motor mounts, and I think I came up with a plan that I like. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna use this motor mount right here, goes all the way through to right here, and what we're gonna do is take a piece of angle iron, chop it just a little piece about that wide, drill a hole in it, the bolt will go through it and the angle iron will drop down and go like that. We'll have another one on this side that drops down and goes like that. We'll connect it underneath this case right here with a piece of flat stock, and then we're gonna do some bars from the angle iron down to here. So that'll be our back upper angled support, and then I just have to come up with some mounts from the sides of the cylinder head up inside the car. You can see where I've got my strap run to, kinda, but the strap is run right there. There's a mount on either side of the cylinder. You can see that one better. You can see where the strap is wrapped around it. So I need to figure out to go from there to somewhere on the body, but the body isn't that strong, so I don't really want to go to the body. So we'll see, but I'm gonna get that back one done. I'm gonna align the engine with the sprockets, and I'm gonna slot everything so that I can move the engine a little bit, and I can also move the jack shaft right now. So we should be able to get them aligned where we want them. So I'm gonna cut out and drill some holes in some angle iron and kind of start tacking up that back mount. Here is how far we are. We have the engine sitting in the car. We got wiring everywhere, don't worry, we'll clean that up. But as you can see, we got a chain on it. We got our jack shaft mounted. The axles just need to be bolted on, they're ready to go. I just haven't bolted them to the jack shaft because I've been doing a lot of testing. I made that rear mount, piece of angle iron welded to the original rear trans mount for the Bug, and then some square tubing and some more angle iron to use the original mounting spot on the Volt bike engine. And then what I did right here, I couldn't have the chain come off and go at a forward angle down to the sprocket because it would hit the case. So I ended up getting an idler sprocket. I ended up welding a 1/2-inch bolt to this original motor mount bolt head to head and offset so that when I rotated it, it would move the whole sprocket and I could use it as a chain adjuster, chain tensioner. So the chain is on. We need to tighten everything down. It's all just test fit, but we got our front motor mounts in here. So I built a bar right here just for hanging the engine. These straps are loose now, but just for hanging the engine and getting it exactly where I wanted. And then for motor mounts in here, I took a piece of angle iron, drilled 2 holes in it and bolted it to the original motor mounts on the side of the head. And then this is a piece of my original mount. The tubing was too small, so I chopped it off and sleeved it. And we've got 1-inch square tubing going down to some angle iron. It's kind of hard to see, but on the frame tails of the Bug body on the pan, I have a piece of angle iron laying across it. This motor mount goes down to one side of the angle iron, and then, excuse me, and then this angle iron, or this mount goes down to the other side of the angle iron, if that makes sense. And then I put a little corner brace in it on each side. You can see it right there, just to give it some rigidity, and now the engine is solid and mounted. So I am really stoked with that. We got everything placed pretty much exactly where we want it. So what we're going to be moving on to next is getting everything tightened down, getting all the set screws and our jack shaft stuff Loctited. I'm gonna do that real quick, get our jack shaft set and tightened down, all the motor mounts are tightened down and everything, and then just spin it over and make sure that the chain rides how it's supposed to, get everything all tensioned. I'm gonna put the axle hubs back on, or I guess I'm going to bolt the axles up to the hubs, I should say. So we're just kind of going along. We do have a lot of stuff left to do. We have to do fuel system, throttle cable, clutch cable, shifter, cooling system, and then we have to wire it all up. We have pretty much everything we need. So I do need to make a custom exhaust because the way that the body is cut, I'm trying to keep the rear seat. I'm doing everything I can to keep the back seat, and this stock exhaust just comes out too far. So I need to chop it and reroute it to come around the side of the engine. It's gonna go around the front of the engine and come out this side. But in order to do that, I need to get a TIG welder, which my dad has, and learn how to TIG titanium because I can't MIG weld titanium. So that's just kind of an update. I've been working on it for a few days, just trying to get something to show you guys. So I'm gonna throw the GoPro up. You guys can just watch me mess around with this, get it all tidied up. We're gonna push the car out and then do some cleanup. It's good to see this thing outside again. We've got insane fender gap on the rear though. That engine and trans weigh about 150 pounds less than the Volkswagen one, so we'll definitely be lowering it and getting it to sit right. It's super cool to see it outside. It is binding a little bit on the chain, so I will need to mess with that, but axles are hooked up, chain is spinning. Super cool. Yeah. So, got the engine just hiding right there. We're gonna build the whole firewall, put the seat back in, all that, but that's all for this video. I just wanted to kind of get a video out. It's been a while and I have been kind of in a analysis paralysis mode where I don't want to put out poor content, so I don't put out any content, but I need to just put out content. So we got some stuff done on that car. We've got a project above my head that I will be revealing very soon. We've got some big updates on MS280. We need to dig into gray matter. Lots to do. So stay tuned. We're going to be putting out consistent content for 2024, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Don't forget to stay hungry, stay humble, stay motivated. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.